Underwood. Thin ice!
So I can't knock down a triple here. Woo, okay. I didn't even miss a shot this entire time, so take that. This better be good for the team.
Oh,
I thought for sure.
there it is. Boom!
Yes! All right. Illini Basketball Podcast, episode 260, March 20th, 2025. 1 hour until the games begin.
The madness starts.
Louisville and Creighton leading the way. Probably on CBS, right?
No, I don't think CBS starts till 1 o'clock today. So,
Well, it says on my thing here CBS. I don't know.
okay, well, I'm wrong. Sorry. I thought I just looked at it, but that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, CBS, just like
the
I
number. The number. I'm looking at the schedule here. The thing with the TV networks. The line on Wisconsin Montana is ridiculous. Might have to hammer Montana.
thought. Montana's not good though.
Doesn't matter. Wisconsin's gonna.
I did see somebody complaining that they're starting with an 8-9 game, so like perfect brackets are going to get busted like right off the bat.
They did that last year. Michigan State, Mississippi State was the first game last year.
I don't know. I just saw somebody complaining about it. Whatever. It doesn't matter to me.
This is the best 8-9 to start with because nobody knows who's going to win, which I think is hilarious that people, oh my God, my bracket's going to be busted. Well, pick Louisville and you'll be fine.
Yeah, true.
Or Creighton. I don't want to disrespect Greg McDermott. He's a hell of a coach. Very similar to Underwood in the fact that, they're good every year, but how far
Whoever
they
you
ever
pick them to win.
Yeah.
You know what I learned last night is that the public perception is that Michigan State's getting to Final Four. So
I've seen very surprising number of brackets that have Auburn not in the Final Four.
yeah,
And I don't think mine has it either. I don't know which one is my final bracket, but the one that I did the other night for the show had Michigan State, and then the other one I did in terms of actually filling it out had Auburn. So I did have Auburn in one of them.
okay.
This is probably my final one with Auburn, St. John's, Bama, Houston, and Houston over Auburn. Although I think Florida, Houston is a possibility too, of course. So, not a lot of people like Auburn. And, I understand that. You look at last year, they lost to Yale in the first round. The thing that I said on Monday night, the coach that has the most to gain is Bruce Pearl. And we all hate him, obviously, for obvious reasons. Nobody hates somebody more than West Virginia fans hate the NCAA tournament committee and Darian DeVries. So that's an interesting storyline to follow. And, if you want to get this out of the way, Rodney Terry out at Texas after last night's game, it seems. I don't think it's official yet. Maybe it is now. But I tweeted it before we went live on the podcast account. Brad Underwood is not going to Texas. We did this 2 years ago. There's no reason to even start doing it now. There's a couple people that have said it. I don't know if it's a joke or not. But it's not gonna happen. So we can,
Yeah, I mean that's why my group text message with the guys that's what I woke up to was Brad Underwood to Texas ? So
and also those people, the people out there that I've seen who are pushing, you people, they're pushing the narrative oh, Brad's such a good in-game coach, he should go to Texas. Got to make so much sense just because they don't want him here. Don't. We don't need to be doing that.
Let's talk about Illinois.
And who Texas should hire is the coach of the team that Illinois plays tomorrow night, and that's Sean Miller and Xavier. Xavier 22-11 on the season. They won last night. Really, just I had Xavier -2.5, so that was a hell of a cover. 86-80, they win. They outscore them by 13 in the final 10. The game really picked up towards the end, and I think the one word that we've used in a lot of games this year for Illinois is rebound the basketball. Or rebound is the one word. I don't want to be like Charles Barkley and say I have 2 words to say and I say 5. But Illinois got a big size advantage in this game. Xavier's a fairly small team for a power conference squad, and they are 320th in the country at offensive rebound percentage. They do get rebounds on the defensive end. They do a good job of that. They prevent offensive rebounds. But Illinois' got a big size advantage here. You look at Xavier's starting five last night. They had Davion McKnight, who's 6 foot, Conwell 6'4", Foster 6'5", Swain 6'8", and Fremantle 6'9". They also have Dante Maddox off the bench, who's a former future Illini, 6'2". He's a transfer from Toledo. And they got a couple other guys who are a little bit bigger. But, yeah, Illinois' got size advantage. Xavier has the experience advantage. They have a bunch of seniors. The only players on their roster that aren't seniors are Dalen Swain, who's a sophomore, and Ryan Conwell is a junior. So they're very old, and they're well coached. Sean Miller's a good coach. Brad, in games against Sean Miller, I think is 0-1 in Illinois because they lost
right.
in 2020 or whatever year that was when he was still there.
Yeah.
So I think they have the coaching advantage, certainly, and that's the unfortunate part of that. Xavier also shoots the hell out of the basketball from three, 39% from three. They're sixth in the country at that. Not as good from inside the 3-point line. So you got to kind of hope that they don't make a ton of threes, because I think Illinois' got the things that Illinois does well. If they do them well in this game, they should win. Like, it's pretty simple. Just don't let Xavier shoot 48% from three like they did last night. And Texas's 3-point defense is not very good, 178th in the country. So I guess that leads – I don't know if that leads to you shooting 48% from three, but Xavier made a ton of them last night. Illinois is in a similar spot in terms of ranking in their 3-point defense. So it's going to come down to the three ball in a lot of ways, and hopefully Xavier doesn't shoot 48%.
Yeah, 12 of 25 last night for them. Besides Foster on the starting lineup, who went 4 for 5. Hunter went 3 for 4 off the bench. Maddox went 2 for 4. Fremantle, who is their leading scorer, 17 points per game, went 1 for 5. So I think that'll be an interesting matchup for Illinois, because he's, like you said, they basically run Fremantle, who's a forward, and then 4 guards around him. You said Conwell's 6'8", though?
6'4".
Oh, which one's 6'8"? One of them's 6'8", I thought you said.
Yeah.
Swain.
Yeah, Swain 6'8".
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be interesting how Illinois decides to defend them. I mean, Tommy's going to be brought out to defend outside on Fremantle, I guess. So,
would you rather Illinois play the harder, more physical, less well-coached team, or the less physical, less imposing, well-coached team?
I think less physical. I mean, I think Illinois is kind of proven that physicality's been their weakness. Teams that are more physical with them.
What about physical teams that don't have a coach? So Texas would have been.
Yeah, I'd still take the less physical team. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of scoring in that game last night. Xavier put up 47 in the second half. So, it seems like this is an Illinois game where it's a shootout. It's kind of like the Iowa game, where the team that scores more is going to win. So, I mean, that's how it works every time. But you guys know what I mean.
Some of Xavier's results this year are kind of staggering. So they lost to Michigan on November 27th by 22 or 25. They beat South Carolina State, who was in the MEAC final game. They only beat them by 3, which is weird for a team that, would have been like a 16 seed if they made the tournament, to beat them by 3, but whatever. They lost to UConn in overtime. They lost to St. John's in overtime. They lost to Creighton by 9, but then beat Creighton by 22 on March 1st. Them getting hot was just beating up on the bad teams in the Big East, with the exception of Creighton. They beat Providence twice in that run. They beat Butler twice. What a weird schedule to have Providence twice and Butler twice, as well as Seton Hall and DePaul. Very favorable schedule for them to get into the tournament.
Sure.
They go out and their offense has been really good. They scored 91 points and 83 points in 2 of their final 3 games. And then they scored 87 in a loss in the Big East tournament to Marquette. And then obviously 86 last night. So their offense has been clicking. And, maybe the Sean Miller to Texas thing that we should probably start saying more just to kind of get it to
Get it going.
start to, distract him. And he doesn't seem concerned about Illinois based on what he said after the game last night.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw that a little bit.
It's a fake tournament win.
He basically was just saying that he hasn't. It was more, I'm not thinking about that yet. I'm trying to enjoy this win, but
what's to enjoy about that one? I mean, come on.
they play close games. So like you said, the Michigan game, it was ugly. They lost by 25, but other than that, most of their losses are within less than 10 points. So Illinois, it seems like a game where Illinois is going to have to finish down the stretch. So
they also lost to a bad TCU team early December.
Yeah. But yeah, their biggest loss recently was to Villanova by 12.
Yeah.
So and then they went on a little win streak and then lost to Marquette by 2. So should be a good game. I don't know how confident I am in this game. Do we want to do players to watch or anything like that? We didn't write anything down for this. We're just kind of talking.
Yeah, we could do that.
Kasparis.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting spot for him. You got a Xavier team that does not force turnovers very much. They do it more than Illinois, but everybody does.
They had 6 steals last night, right?
Yeah, but throughout the season, 148th in the country defensively.
Yeah.
And they don't really they're very similar to Illinois in the fact that they turn the ball over a little bit, but they don't turn it over a lot. Like 16% offensive turnover percentage, Illinois 15.8. So that's similar. But then defensively, Illinois 12.7% turnover percentage and 17.6 for Xavier. So even though Xavier's 148th in the country in turnover percentage on defense, which is fine, I guess, it's not that bad. It's 5% more than Illinois. So and the tempo, Xavier's 74th in the country in adjusted tempo, Illinois 18th. So we'll see if Illinois can force some quick shots because I think Xavier will throw up some quick shots, and Illinois probably will too. And Illinois's got to make some threes. Like I don't want them to take a ton of threes, but Iowa, they took 26 threes. If they take fewer than 30 threes and they can make 10 of them, I think we're fine.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I also think this is a team where, the high-low combination of Tommy and Merez would work really well. So Merez being a bigger guy, Tommy, is going to be bigger than whoever's guarding him. So defensively, I don't know how that's going to work. But I'm sure that Brad has a game plan against that. So I think Merez will be a big factor in this too, offensively and rebounding. So, yeah.
I would say Will Riley would be my guy to watch in this one.
Okay.
I think Xavier's going to have a good plan against him.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious to see how he responds to that. I think you also have to look at Trey White, see if he keeps making threes. Hummer, is he going to make a shot for once, What kind of minutes do we see from Merez will be interesting. Illinois' got to own the paint on both ends.
I think DGL Davis minutes are going to be interesting to see now that we're in tournament time and everybody's healthy. So
they will combine for at least 2 threes, despite probably playing like 8 minutes each.
Jake Davis is making both of them.
DGL made a couple threes last year in the tournament, so
well, hopefully he shows up because his threes have not been good lately.
And Boswell. Who does Boswell guard?
I would assume Foster. Foster had 22 points, went 8 for 9, 4 for 5 from 3. It seems like that's who he would guard, but I don't know.
Well, let's not forget that Conwell
from 41% from 3.
From February 23rd to March 8th, he had 22 points, 20 points, 21 points, 21 points. He had 38 and made 7 threes against Marquette in the Big East tournament. So I would almost say you throw Trey White on Foster and then have Boswell guard Conwell.
Yeah.
I don't think Conwell has seen a defender like Boswell this year, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
unlikely, unless I guess St. John's with their perimeter guys defensively. You know, that might be the only exception there with Davon Smith and Kirai Richmond in that perimeter. But I don't know how he did against them, but that guy scores a lot of points. And people thought he was going to score a lot last night. Only 11. He had 5 right away and then only ended up with 11. He had 9 points on 9 points on 1 of 10 shooting against St. John's in the first game. And then he had 21 in the second game. So really what it comes down to for him is he going to go 1 for 8 from 3 or 4 for 8, essentially? Like he only took 3 of them last night. So we'll see. I would say Boswell should guard Conwell, but you never know. Who knows what Brad's going to do? Have to think that I know that they said they were looking at potential 11 seeds to scout.
But then I think Brad said he hadn't looked at Texas or Xavier at all. So
well, that's not
or much.
Good.
He said. Maybe much. He said. But does it matter with Brad? Like, do you think Brad has a different game plan going into things?
Yes.
Okay.
Look at what they did to Iowa State last year. I mean, woo, had those guys in a blender. It's not true. Historically, 6v11. This stuff doesn't bode very well for 6 seeds. But I will say it's a little inflated because 6 seeds went 1-3 last year. The only 6 seed that won was Clemson. They beat New Mexico. And also Oregon was an 11 seed last year. Like, they're going to win no matter what in that spot. 6 seeds are in the last 3 6v11s. 6 seeds are averaging 2.7 more points scored. They're averaging 0.5 more points scored in the last 5 games. In the last 10, 11 seeds are averaging 0.6 more points, which is surprising. Let's see. 6 seeds are 18-22 in the last 40 matchups, or the last, I don't know. These stats are stupid. What are we doing here? Why is it listed like this? Just know that 6 seeds are vulnerable, I would say.
Yeah, they are. I mean, 6 seeds, 6 versus 11s, playing a team that, had a playing game. They always seem to do well. It seems like one of those teams always makes a run to the Sweet 16. Hopefully that's North Carolina, even though everybody's going to hate it because nobody thought North Carolina should be in. But I predict Illinois wins this game 87-78, by the way.
I'll take Illinois 83-81.
Okay. Buzzer beater?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, you want to talk about anything else?
Yeah, I got the last 16 matchups between 6 and 11s.
Okay.
So last year, Duquesne was an 11. They beat BYU 71-67. Clemson was a 6. They beat New Mexico 77-56. North Carolina State beat Texas Tech. That was an 11 over a 6 by 13. And Oregon beat South Carolina by 14. That was an 11 over a 6. And then the year before that, it was 3-1 for the 6 seeds with Kentucky over Providence, Creighton over North Carolina State, and TCU over Arizona State. Now, where it gets interesting is I believe, what year was this? Let's see. It was another year where the 11 seeds went 3-1. So 11 seeds have gone 3-1, I think, in 2 of the last 4, which is, maybe somewhat troubling. But it seems like a lot of times historically these games aren't close. The margin was 4, 21, 13, and 14 last season. Then the year before that, it was 8, 18, 9, 2, 8. And then it was 5, 12 was the margin, 14 was the margin, 11 was the margin, 16, 12, and 16. So some blowouts in these games. Blowouts with a capital B, folks. Maybe Illinois does that. That would be fun.
That would be fantastic. I mean, if we know anything about Illinois, it's going to be a blowout one way or the other. So
If they go out getting blown out, boy, it's gonna be hard to view this season in any way other than what a disappointment.
yeah, I agree. I don't think they will. I think that, like I
And
said,
they definitely
this
could,
could be-
though.
yeah, they could definitely, throw up 50 points in this game and get beat by 30. So
That's almost the likely scenario if they lose. Is that
is that they don't shoot well. So Boswell goes 0 for 10 from 3.
okay? Let's do a couple historical NCAA tournament things just for fun here to kind of fill. Get to 30 minutes here. Will the spread in the national championship game be lower than the last 2 years? It was 6.5 the last 2 years with UConn, San Diego State, and UConn, Purdue.
I would say so. I mean, I would guess UConn was a different.
So,
Unless
like
it ends up
Florida, Houston. What's the spread? Like 2.5
3.
in favor of Florida.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay, I think it would be like 1.5, maybe. Now that I think of it,
It might be pick them.
UConn covered the spread both of those games. The year before that, Kansas was -4.5 against North Carolina. They did not cover. They won by 3. The year before that, and this was kind of a shocking one, and I guess this would have been the first year that we were doing March Madness. I don't call it March Madness, sorry. NCAA tournament. The first time we were doing NCAA tournament shows is when Gonzaga was -4.5 against Baylor and lost by 16. So they didn't cover. Champions do cover, though, quite frequently. I mean, the two biggest spreads in the last 20 years of national championship games were North Carolina -7.5 against Michigan State in 2009. They won by 17. And Villanova -7 against Michigan in 2018. They won by 17. So if you're a 7.5 or if you're a 7-point favorite or better, you're going to win by 17, unless you're Duke. Duke was a 7-point favorite against Butler in 2010 and won by 2, and would have lost if Duke didn't rig the rims and prevent Gordon Hayward from making that half-court shot. By the way, when North Carolina robbed Illinois of a national championship in 2005, they were -2, and they won by 5.
Cool.
That might be all I have.
I mean, you want to talk about like coaches? I mean, Phillips in here saying keep Chester away from Indiana.
Yeah, we could talk about that for a minute. Indiana hiring West Virginia's Darian DeVries, which I think is a really good hire in terms of wanting a guy who has produced results. I mean, West Virginia was better than they should have been this year, and they should have been in the tournament. But
yeah, I think that they were 8-22 last year or something, and they were 18-12 this year, something like that. I don't know.
And they probably win 20 games if Tucker DeVries is healthy.
Yeah, Sincere Harris is pushing for Chester Frazier to get the head coaching job at West Virginia. So I don't think Chester will follow DeVries. How do you say his name? DeVries. I'd
be very surprised if Chester went to Indiana.
There's no
very
shot.
Surprised.
It'd be a full circle from chest bumping Eric Gordon to.
It would be an emergency podcast. Chester Frazier is dead to us.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And if Chester goes, then Sincere and Hansberry are probably going.
I would think, yeah. I mean, I think that they're going to follow him anywhere. The way Sincere's pushing, I mean, he's been very vocal on Twitter about Chester getting the West Virginia job. I don't know if that matters to West Virginia's people, but props to him for sticking up for his man. So,
I mean, there's a couple interesting things in the coaching world that can happen. I think if you're West Virginia, you have to also look at going back to the Drake well. If Ben McCollum is available,
sure,
they can make that happen. And Will Wade is not signed at NC State yet. So
okay, so people are just pushing that out there, just like be jerks because McNeese is.
Well, there's a verbal agreement.
Okay,
but we've seen coaches in other sports do crazy things, and Will Wade totally lines up to be a guy that's like, okay, I'm just going to go to, what if Texas wants Will Wade?
That's what I feel like if Will Wade went to NC State, he's settling. Like it seems like.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to think there's going to be some NIL money spent. Plus, you're in a conference that's very gettable.
True. I mean, if you're going to the weak ass ACC, sure.
Unless you're going to get a shit ton of money and a shit ton of commitment from an athletic director, I'm not going to the SEC if I'm Will Wade. Because like Texas was terrible this year and only got in the tournament because they're in the SEC. Like they weren't terrible, but they weren't very good. And West Virginia, I mean, it's a good job. You have passionate fans. They got some history. I would just hire Huggins back. I mean, that's never going to happen, but that's what I would do. I could see Calhoun from Utah State being a guy. I mean, Utah State literally loses coaches every year, so I wouldn't be that surprised if he went. But I would just say to NC State fans, don't celebrate Will Wade yet. I still think it probably happens. But
if anybody is going to verbally commit and then back out, it's Will Wade.
And I wouldn't blame him if it's for a better job, because there are better jobs out there. But it's I don't know. There's got to be some sort of quality like commitment from NC State for him to agree to that by now. Or I'm sure there's other programs that are afraid to hire him, similar to how Indiana doesn't have the guts to try to get Chris Beard. Not that Chris Beard would take it, but my God, if I were an AD, I would sprint. Like I said, if Brad Underwood ever left Illinois, hire Chris Beard. Chris Beard would dominate at Illinois, I think. But we don't have to talk about that because we already have a coach. The voice of Motown.com, which I guess is some sort of West Virginia thing, said there are 2 candidates emerging as frontrunners for the West Virginia job as of this morning, and that is it's apparently on3.com is saying that their search has narrowed quite a bit, and 2 candidates have emerged as frontrunners. And that is Chester Frazier is one of them. And the other one is Calhoun from Utah State, who I mentioned. So I don't think it's the smartest thing in the world for West Virginia to hire Chester Frazier. But if it keeps them from making the mistake of going to Indiana, then fine by me.
Yeah, and I don't know if he would follow, if he would stay, if he would look for a new job. So I just don't know how he would. I don't think he could go to Indiana just as an Illinois person. Down in the comments, we do have a bracket challenge. Fill it out before 11:15. If you guys want to get in that, I posted in there. I don't know if that link works, so good luck. But yeah. 2 more minutes, Ethan. We can do it.
Other names that have been mentioned by this website, not that it's real or not, are Ben McCollum from Drake, Ross Hodge from North Texas, Richard Pitino from New Mexico, which if you're Villanova, you got to hire Pitino, I think.
Yeah.
Although I would hire Will Wade for any job, but I understand that Big East, maybe they don't think it would work, and that's fine. I mean, they hired Kyle Neptune. That was a disaster. So
what's Iowa doing right now? Any
Great question. I think it's hilarious that Iowa burner account was saying that DeVries is going there. It's like, no, he's not. Never going to happen. People got tricked there. I mean, if you're Iowa, do you want to become a team that doesn't have a fun offense and, not be fun? Because that's what you do if you hire Ben McCollum, I guess.
True. Thoughts on Dix coming to Illinois?
I think it's one of those early portal things that won't happen, but
yeah,
interesting that they're interested.
I think that it just like that fits the Brad, guy, like white dude 6'6" that can shoot from 3. That's what Brad wants. So I get why it's instant. Maybe he would come, but I don't know if that happens.
Yeah. Back to more important things with this podcast is
sure.
Iowa's basketball job.
Sure.
I saw a name mentioned on an SI article, and this is who I would definitely hire if you want to still have a good offense, and that's Bucky McMillan. I know Samford didn't make the playoffs, the NCAA tournament this year. Professional sports on the brain for some reason, no reason. Bucky McMillan is a guy I would look at if I'm Iowa. Like, I think if you're Iowa, you just got to hire a mid-major guy who's had success. Like, there's no point in going out there and trying to take a big swing because, you're Iowa, you're football school. R.I.P. Fran. He's gone.
See, Fran.
You think Fran's going to take a job this year
I don't know. That's
on
a good
Illinois
question.
staff potentially?
No shot.
That'd be funny though.
Yeah, I mean, him and Brad are friends, so
Yeah. Well,
I don't think they. I like.
he's been a head coach for 25 years. I don't think he's just going to take a.
Yeah.
He's never been to a Sweet 16 for the record. So
What kind of like? Do you think that teams are actively trying to get Fran McCaffrey?
wouldn't think so, but not at least the higher level jobs that are out there. Like I don't think Villanova is going to.
Yeah, but I don't. I'm not saying Iowa's like top tier Big Ten, but like I don't think he's gonna like take a lower job in the Mountain West or something.
Well, the Gazette reported that he's staying in the fight, intends to be coaching somewhere in 2025-26. So
Okay,
he loves the game.
I mean, I don't doubt that.
What about New Mexico if Patino leaves? Get a Mountain West, or if Utah State becomes available. Go to the Mountain West and have a good offense and win.
Yeah, I guess that could be possible.
I think it'd be better for him to not take a mid-major job, but like a job that's almost a power job, like Utah State or New Mexico or that other one that's going to be available. I mean, West Virginia theoretically could do it, but they won't.
Yeah,
I don't think Fran in the Big 12 would be a very good fit. I don't think he would fit in any – the only power conference where I'd be like, he could win a lot there. I mean, the Big 10, he did, but the ACC, if there's an ACC school that wants to bring him in and they'll just score a shit ton of points and,
What about Brad to Texas, Fran to Illinois?
Anyway, over 30 minutes. Yeah, I don't think we need to say that.
Like, comment, subscribe. Go Illini tomorrow at 8:45
Is
when
that
they
the
play.
time?
I think so. So we will try to be live afterwards.
Yeah, it's 8:45, which means 9 o'clock Central. So
Yeah,
we would be live at like 11:30.
11:30 at night. Ooh,
I mean, I have to work Saturday, but I'll do it.
I got to work Saturday too. So
What time do you got to work?
8 a.m.
Yeah, it's about the same for me. So yeah, we'll try to go live after the game and we'll see what happens. Hopefully Illinois wins.
Maybe we do like a little halftime live.
That's possible as well. Yes. We'll see what happens. And Illinois tournament game tomorrow night.
Oh,
The actual tournament game starts in 28 minutes. So we will see everybody maybe tomorrow night or also probably tomorrow night.
never.
Either one. So Underwood.
Thin ice.